Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to discuss a Big Finish audio drama with Missy. Michelle Gomez back as Missy for a story called A Spoonful of Mayhem, which of course is a spin on A Spoonful of Sugar with Mary Poppins, which is very appropriate as this is a very, like a dark Mary Poppins-like tale, with of course Missy being our kind of evil Mary Poppins, or morally ambiguous Mary Poppins, which, I mean, Missy has always had that kind of Mary Poppins look to her. I'm sure that's done on purpose, and she carries it off well. Matter of fact, the highlight of this story is Michelle Gomez and her performance. She just gets this character. I love Missy. She's one of my favorite versions of the Masters. Actually, she's my third favorite. And she's, like, the top three are all really close. Missy is just so good in this role. She has the kind of bent insanity angle, but she also has this bit of Delgado in her that's determined and serious. And if she has a plan, don't get between her and her plan. And this one is interesting, though. And I like that, I'm losing my train of thought. But I would definitely insist that Michelle Gomez is the highlight. She's just magnificent in this. She makes this so enjoyable. I had fun listening to this. The story itself is okay. It's not really blowing me away. Again, it's kind of Mary Poppins if Mary Poppins' morals weren't quite there. She ends up as the governess to two children, although one of them's about 14, because they even argue with why he needs a governess, and then he has a younger sister. And you get that the dad is wealthy and comes from money. And Missy has basically been stranded here in the 19th century, much like how the Third Doctor was stranded on Earth in the 20th century. She's kind of stranded here. She can't really leave. But she's not exiled by the Time Lord. She's exiled by, like, this group called the Watchers, or the Watcher. And, you know, it's this person that's kind of keeping, or entity, something that's kind of keeping an eye on her, make sure she serves out whatever her sentence is or whatever, and she doesn't get into trouble. She can't directly hurt or kill anyone. Kind of like the guy in Rosa, how he can't hurt anyone, so he has to indirectly influence events. It's kind of like that with Missy here. She has to tiptoe around how she does things. And of course she has a plan. Missy always has a plan. And she even kind of corrals the children into helping her under the guise of fun and adventures. But just the dialogue, whoever wrote this gets Missy. The dialogue they gave Michelle Gomez is just deliciously delightful. Oh, she has so much fun, and she gets so much out of every line. She meets like a dragon, she gets a ruby, she's on a train, she meets basically a genie, and then of course she manipulates her escape and leaves the children alive. I think there's actually a part of her that likes the children at the end, which I found enjoyable. Because this version of Missy is, in some ways, a little kinder than most. I'm not saying she's kind, but this is probably the most, instead of villain master, more anti-hero master, although she can still be villain master too. But she has the most, I think, kind of gray compass. And I think she actually likes the children at the end. She doesn't just see them as a means to an end. And she even tells them she may be back sometime for them. It's just, I can mentally picture, as this story is progressing, Michelle Gomez saying her lines and getting that look on her face, because she's so good at doing performances with her facial expressions and that grin she gets. She's just such a good actress. I can picture that in my head, and I really enjoyed that. So while the story itself was, you know, kind of middle of the road, not bad. Again, Mary Poppins, if it's Missy is Mary Poppins. Michelle Gomez's performance made it enjoyable, and I liked the ending. I liked that she got away. She managed to trick the people watching her, trap them, and escape, and I liked that. It's weird when I'm rooting for the master. But the story does it in a way where you're kind of pulling for. You're kind of like those pesky watchers, even though they're probably the good guys. Those pesky watchers, why are they bothering my Misty? It's interesting how it frames that. But it does a really good job with it. And I found it an enjoyable listen. This was a Patreon request, actually, from Unknown289, one of my top tier patrons. And it was a fun listen, mainly because of Michelle Gomez's performance, which was wonderful. I absolutely love her as Missy. So, A Spoonful of Mayhem. Have you listened to it? What do you think of it? What do you think of Michelle Gomez as Missy in the show, in Big Finish, etc., etc.? And would you like her to come back to the show? I would like her to come back to the show. I mean, there's all sorts of ways she could come back. It could be timey-wimey shenanigans where we meet her before she got locked in the box with 12, or she could have bi-generated into the Dewan Master. I mean, all the other Time Lords are bi-generating. I'm not a big fan of bi-generation, but if it keeps Missy around, I will become a fan of bi-generation because I really liked Missy in the show. And I'd love to see her interact with other doctors. So I want to know what you think of that. Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me on that. There's a link to that down there. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Finn Perkins, Unknown289, Colin Coney, and Sam Venning. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.